The sun is shining, the leaves are dancing to the wind, and I'm going to be talking about the unstoppable force. What is the unstoppable force? There is a power that is governing everything. It is so professional that it goes unseen. And this power is not separate from anything. You can deem it as the indivisible whole, the whole essence of life. Now, when we try to align ourselves to a power, what happens is the mind comes into play. And not to say that the mind is not subject to that power itself. Everything is founded upon this initial essence, the primordial essence or awareness. But when it comes to efforts that we make to accomplish, in the external world, it bears results. Internally, in the mental dimension, it can bear results as well. But when it comes to absolute alignment with this highest power, all efforts all mental and physical efforts can step in its way. Now you say, what is the distinction between a being that is aligned to the highest power that is governing all of nature and a being that is not? And how can this be? See, in the bigger picture, in the eternal picture of life, this is not a possibility. That's why many people believe everything is destiny and divine will. But when it comes to the individual aspect, there is a sense of free will. And this free will is granted by this highest power, the divine will, or the all-natural governing force of existence as a whole. So here we are in our limited scape of free will, because in the end, we're in life and we're facing the laws of this universe. And beings that go against the laws of the universe established by the highest power, there are consequences to that, to the individuality. And in the biggest picture, I suspect individuality holds no position, because if all individuals are founded upon one essence, it is that one essence that goes on and lives on through them. But individuals tend to identify and attach a stigma of individuality to the highest power. To personify the all-natural governing force is to say that a natural system that is beyond individuals is an individual. And we try to receive it like that, but that is not the case, because there are group dynamics in life, group communications. When two individuals understand each other, in other words, mentally they have reached the same point. And that's where a unity is felt. The realities are the same. Little kid comes up and says, I like this blue ball. Another little girl comes up and says, I like this blue ball too. And and this plastic ball they're both in agreement in regards to reality and point of view. So their individual point of views have aligned to a unified essence that is already present. Hence, this made me suspect that if our unity as a whole was not present, then individuals could not really communicate, understand each other, or sync up in love. And the thing that gets in the way is selfishness and individuality, and the false connectivity points in regards to our understanding of life that are developed from that. So, to align with the highest power, as I had mentioned before, is to step out of your own way. To your mind, to that assumption that is standing in your own way, which we have come to glorify, that false assumption, when you as the truth, as that highest power within you as an individual, are trying to get you, the individuality, out of your way so that your individuality can blossom. In other words, you're getting the selfishness that has possessed your individuality, and hence becomes the obstacle in the you version of you that is suffering in the face of this highest power that is everywhere, yet is selflessly all giving. To get rid of that, to your individuality, to that false assumption, it translates to as, oh my God, I'm dying. But there is a saying, saints, Sufis, and even Gnostics, I believe, have said that die before you die, and you will reach eternity. In other words, it's not about this physical form that is going through its cycle, because this is a product of nature. It's about the individuality that believes to be only this. And that itself, to be analyzed, is the process of the purification of the intellect that many alchemists embark on, that journey. To turn selfishness into generosity is what the alchemist does when it comes to purifying the ego into the true nature, the highest power that is already present. Hence, it is getting rid of shadows of the mind, illusions, false sense of identifications, allowing them to diminish and for the gold to remain. Because the alchemists are known to turn, for example, bronze or impurified metals into gold, for example. So, when it comes to you trying to align yourself to the highest power, you can approach it in two ways. One, you can assume that you're not already in alignment and that you are the misalignment and that you have to find the alignment. But at some point, if you mature on that path, you realize that, okay, you're in your own way and you got to get rid of your own way. The second thing is to understand that from the beginning and begin your internal process of alchemy, or the path of the saint, divinity. And the way that works is you know inherently, for you are the highest power present, the whole here, that of what things are standing in the way of the blossoming of this individuality. How do you as an individual blossom? How does a flower arise? It has the whole, the water, the soil, everything. It's like the foundation is what's blossoming the individuals. When individuals think they're just individuals, they begin internally becoming an obstacle. They internally or externally, it's not the point. They begin barricading, becoming a barricade to their own receiving of what's growing them, what's blossoming them, what's getting them to do what the individuality is meant to do. So when an individual chooses to be selfish and just obsess over this sense of self, which is the selfishness also, they are becoming an obstacle for the highest power. So in other words, the individual, in other words, the obsessing over the individuality is becoming an obstacle to your wholeness that is present already here. And when all attention is only on the selfishness and individuality, that which is supporting your very existence now is either understood or seen in a false way, in a limited way, in a definable way, and obstructions begin manifesting. The person who decides at some point, you know what, my whole life I've been an obsession in my mind. I'm going to stop obsessing over me. It's almost as if their awareness just expands dramatically, instantly. And they begin to feel more adjusted. Now, this does not mean that everything's going to work well. A lot of people think that to be aligned with the highest power means that all your selfish desires are going to be fulfilled and everything's going to be okay. But that is not the case, because if all your selfishness was to be fulfilled, selfishness harbors more, generates more selfishness. So the obstacle would keep on going, and hence the obstacle would have a position. Really honestly assess yourself and consider what you're feeding within yourself. Are you feeding the glorification of yourself? And is it really fulfilling you? And if it fulfills you, how long does that fulfillment last? Is there something more real that can be attained? Perhaps the eternity that people are looking for. A lot of conquerors, they wanted to be known in history, almost as if they were searching for, they were trying to give an effect with their temporary identity, and they wanted to be remembered after they're gone for being great, and hence kind of live on through that eternally. But the eternal nature is already present, it's silent, and it's selfless, because all selves are temporary. So instead of trying to fiddle and mess with your individuality, or trying to glorify to use it to reach eternity, acknowledge that eternity is present here, and the individuality is present in the midst of that. And allow yourself to receive. When you're selfish, you're blocking yourself from receiving the highest power that is already present here. So you're blocking it from shining through. And that brings in a whole ordeal of identity issues, limitations that you're dealing with. Now, if you step out of your own way and become selfless right now, the highest power, it will flow. Like, it'll shine through, and your individuality will occur beautifully without you messing with it as the obsessed individual, obsessing over your individuality. You know, the more I try to put it into words, it's difficult, but in silence, you know. So silently and selflessly and invisibly be. Hence, you see that it's an effortlessness that is already present. True joy and happiness is effortless, and that which is effortless is already present. People are trying to be happy. They're trying to create reasons that their individuality can accept, and hence accept the happiness based off those reasons. But everything is temporary in life. All individual issues and notions and identities are temporary. So the happiness that you're searching for, it itself is an individualized receiving. Hence, it won't fulfill you. Now you ask, what will fulfill me? Pay attention to what mode you're operating in. Because the one who is truly aligned and selfless, in other words, has gone out of their own way in allowing the highest power, which is already present, full grace, to just shine forth, they know that it won't necessarily have a shape, but it is present. Hence, they come out of that internal struggle and grappling, and they begin just flowing like the wind, expanding, being the sky. It's like me telling you, every cloud is trying to be the sky. And all they see is clouds and the progression of clouds. And when clouds can't become the sky, they get disheartened. Why not invert the point of view that you are already the selfless sky, the selfless whole, present here? And that it is your cloudiness that is temporary, which is temporary. But it is the cloudiness that you must be selfless about. It's I love this topic. See, the cloud is not the cloud, because without the sky there would be no clouds. It's the same with people and the supreme nature of the universe, all universe. Hence, to transcend the formula of individuality without messing with individuality, because the more you mess with individuality, the more you fiddle with it, the more individuality is breathed life into. Individuality harbors individuality. Selflessness harbors more selflessness. And what is more selflessness? It's all equal when it comes to selflessness. So begin selflessly loving your individuality, and understand that the more you feed your selfishness, let's say you try to selflessly love your selfishness, it wouldn't work, you see, because selfishness, to accept it, is to deny selflessness. The selflessness is already present. So then one say, oh, I should deny selfishness, but the I and the denying and the selfishness are all of the selfishness. So that's why Buddha said, be mindful. Don't mess with, don't dabble with your life, analyze it and judge it. Allow selflessly. Hence comes the Tao. The Tao is understood by the selfless because it's not a selfish thing to be selfishly understood. And then once one reaches the state, that state cannot be described through selfish terms, through individualized terms. But that overall understanding, that foundational essence, once you dissolve your greed and selfishness through allowance of all, the supreme power of all to be, at some point you see that you begin fading. And for a lot of people, that drives them nuts. I'm fading. I'm losing myself. Perhaps you're getting out of your own way and allowing the whole to come in, not as an individual shape, but as, in other words, you're allowing your individuality to blossom tenfold when you're not standing in the way, when you're not obsessing. Because the more you obsess over your individuality, the more the false sense of I becomes more solid. But once one becomes selfless, or allows their selflessness to shine forth selflessly, hence it's very difficult to explain, the wrong views begin diminishing. And that which is right and right now will be, and shall continue on. And to selflessly understand it is to not really understand it at all. That's where faith comes in. And faith is needed for every alchemist, for every saint, sage, guru, because it helps them. It helps in the dissolving of themselves, being obstacles to themselves. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you for listening.